Maintenance is all around the preservation of function and condition for all your assets, be them physical or non-physical, in your organisation. We need to be mindful of the planning, scheduling, and execution of maintenance tasks, maintenance activities. We will look at different strategies around the different assets that match the criticality, the condition, and the risk of the asset as it relates to itself from a complex point of view, but as it underpins service and product delivery. We need to look at managing shutdowns and turnarounds and outages effectively and efficiently wherever possible. Recording maintenance data to support future decision making. And that's not just in relation to maintenance, it might also be to the redesign of equipment used in our organisation. And ultimately, balancing cost, performance, and risk in maintenance choices, in maintenance strategies, and even right back through to spare parts strategies. Depending on the culture, the maturity of your organisation, you may have to contend and deal with both a reactive versus proactive mindset. There's a real risk that teams default to firefighting, coming out and fixing things after they break. That may be okay by exception, but not by rule. That's just not good value and not good use of resources. So we need to start looking at how we shift the culture towards preventive, towards predictive, through training, success stories, and even embracing things like failure modes affects criticality analysis, reliability-centered maintenance, and really start looking at integrated reliability as an outcome. We need to understand that maintenance is executed by maintainers, but we also need to engage the broader workforce because we need to work out how everything integrates together. Sometimes staff face the real risk that they feel overloaded by schedules or maybe disengaged from the planning decision altogether. Well, someone might be asked to do routine maintenance, but it's during operations, which is effectively impossible. You need to actually stop the machinery to do what you need to do. So that tension, if you like, and workforce engagement, especially between the likes of operations and maintenance, needs to be understood and navigated. So if we involve technicians in the planning, listening to feedback from the last time we undertook maintenance, and improve the ownership and stewardship of the equipment that we're working on, and even including the likes of, say, supply chain, your workforce engagement can be improved, which therefore raises your asset management culture. We need to be very mindful, and this also ties back to configuration management. If we're going to ask maintenance to record something, a measurement, consumption, a serial number, whatever it might be, if they don't understand the importance, we run the real risk that records will be incomplete, and that will lead to future poor decisions that may impact operations or even worse, safety. So if we can reinforce the importance of accurate data entry, we can simplify how that is done wherever possible, but then remind maintenance that they are part of the solution, not just the subcontractor to the rest of the business. All of a sudden, the data capture discipline can be improved, and people will then start to understand that data or information is an asset in its own right to support decision making. Just as there is that tension that exists between the value of an asset versus value from an asset, the same can be said for both production and maintenance, or even operations and maintenance, as we often call it. Operations may resist the downtime required to do maintenance because, of course, it might be making money. Why would you actually stop production? But we've got to be mindful that if we continue on that path, we end up with failures, at first conditional failures, then functional failures. Then all of a sudden, when things go bang and production stops, maintenance often is seen to be the one to blame. But we can actually get around this by bringing operations and maintenance together, having joint planning forums, looking at different maintenance strategies, how you might optimize the trade-offs between downtime, uptime, and what's required. You might even go as far as saying production might be able to do some light touch maintenance, which then also manages the condition monitoring and also then reduces potential downtime in the future. In maintenance, especially if you're moving from something like inspections through to more condition monitoring, looking at mobility, looking at new technologies, it's obvious that staff may resist that. Really, you're taking away, in one respect, their ability to control, if you like, the maintenance activity and the sequencing of that. But what we need to do is bring maintenance into the fold. Roll out a pilot if it's a new approach, if it's a new process. Not just give it lip service, but actually give it training. Walk through the entire thing. Sharing quick wins about, gee, this could work because of, or maybe, hold on, we did try it and we have to make this subtle change, but that will build confidence. But change resistance to new methods around maintenance, in particular, planning for maintenance, can be avoided with engagement upfront. In the context of maintenance delivery, learning and improvement obviously starts with the whole feedback mechanism from maintenance. But we run a risk, however, that maintenance practices stay still, don't evolve, and we fall and default back into maintenance. And corrective maintenance is one of those things, but you can reduce the likelihood of it by doing effective preventive maintenance, obvious. But what we can do, we can embed continuous improvement, look at root cause analysis, becoming friends with both operations and reliability practitioners, and feeding those lessons learned back into processes. That might be changing the frequency of a task. It might be the way in which we actually do the task. It might be a way in which we can improve the task effectiveness. But maintenance delivery is key. It's there to preserve the condition and the function of the assets that support organisational value delivery. In terms of maintenance delivery, the area in ISO that correlates the strongest would be 8.1, operational planning and control, including life cycle management. Now, I sometimes get asked, why isn't there a section in ISO 55001 for maintenance? And the answer is because it's a management system standard. It's not how to do asset management. And of course, as we know from a life cycle perspective, we would then have to start introducing in everything from design right down through to operate and maintain. But section 8.1 is the most direct correlation back to maintenance delivery. So in summary, maintenance delivery ensures the right work is done at the right time to keep assets performing and delivering value. I also, in my own words, refer to maintenance as being the preservation of the condition and function of assets to support organisational outcomes.